When I started working as a real estate agent and making YouTube videos back in January of 2021, I really just jumped into the work right away without considering how my mindset or my outlook on my abilities or on life in general would affect me in my work. Oftentimes we don't talk about the mindset shifts that need to happen before you jump into something new in order for your career or your project or your relationship, whatever the case may be, in order for that thing that you're working on to truly flourish and grow and improve over time. Without the right outlook on yourself and on life, it's so easy to grow only to a certain point and then become stagnant. And even in careers like real estate or content creation, where the sky is basically the limit, you are not limited to how much success you can achieve. You still, in my experience, end up setting this unconscious limit for yourself based on what you believe to be true about yourself, even if you're not consciously thinking about it. When stagnation happens, it's so easy to blame the circumstances. It's very easy to blame outside situations or outside factors that might affect our career that we're in, for example. But I think a lot of the times, not that the blame is on us, because of course there's a lot of different things that come into play when you reach a point where you feel stagnant, but I think that the lack of belief in your potential, like we talked about in last week's video, is a huge reason behind why many people don't grow past a certain point. I've been really experiencing that in my own life lately and really having to come to terms with a lot of the insecurities that I have, a lot of the just hurdles mentally that I'm creating for myself that's not really anybody else's fault. And I don't know if it's my fault necessarily, but it is my responsibility to figure out how to overcome that. In today's video, I want to bare my soul a little bit to you and really just start a conversation around the topic of growth mindset. But before we move on, if you are new here, welcome. And if you are coming back, welcome back to the channel. I am so happy to see you here again. My name is Irina. For those that don't know me, as I already mentioned, I started my YouTube channel back in 2021. I was talking a lot about my job, my journey as a real estate agent. I still am a real estate agent. I also shared a lot of videos on tiny homes, on economic and housing market commentary, on social commentary as well. And though all of those things do hold a special place in my heart nowadays, I've really been loving creating personal development content as well as videos that talk about tips on content creation. And I've also been getting into sort of documentary style videos and lifestyle vlogs as well. So it's just a lot of things going on over here. But if you like these videos, if you enjoy hearing what I have to say, I would love for you to consider subscribing, hitting that bell notification so that you get notified every single time I upload a new video. My goal truly is for my corner of the internet to be a place of inspiration, of motivation, and of encouragement for you. So if that sounds like something that you're into, definitely consider joining. I've definitely talked about limiting beliefs before in some of my previous videos, so it's something that I know I'm very aware that I struggle with and that I'm continuing to kind of try to figure out how to deal with in a lot of different aspects in my life. I've noticed that there are small limiting beliefs as well as larger ones, but they both have a sort of negative impact. If I were to bring up an example of like a small limiting belief, maybe something that sounds kind of silly, is for the longest time, I was thinking about how awesome it would be to make homemade bread. I am also on the sourdough train now, just like a lot of other women on the internet. And I've been loving it, but I remember for the longest time, I was just telling myself, oh, I could never bake bread at home. Like, I don't know how to knead dough. I don't think I could ever learn that, which is so silly because it's not like it's a skill that we're all innately born with, to know how to bake bread or to cook in general. But for some reason, I just didn't see myself as being the kind of person that baked bread every week. I don't know why. It again sounds really silly, but now I bake like 2 loaves a week and it's really not that big a deal. It's not that hard because I've gotten used to it. And so those sorts of limiting beliefs, they hold me back from even trying like small, seemingly insignificant, easy things like baking a loaf of bread. Not that baking bread is the easiest thing in the world, but it's definitely a skill that anyone can learn. And there's a lot of small examples like that in my life, but of course there's also larger limiting beliefs. Things like I could never grow a huge audience on YouTube, like of 2, 3, 500,000 subscribers. Like I just don't see that for myself. Or I couldn't run my own business and have employees. I could never do that. I'm not the type of person that could be be a business owner on that scale. And I'm trying honestly to figure out why it is that I don't believe that I could do those things, or that I could be the type of person that has those things. Every time I make statements about the type of person that I am, or about the abilities that I currently have, I'm putting myself in this box, and I'm containing all of my abilities and all of my potential into this very limited space, as if my identity is set in stone and I can't ever grow or change or improve or really grow into a different version of myself in the future. It might seem harmless when you're making seemingly silly or small statements like, I could never bake bread at home, or, oh, I could never be a plant person because all of my plants die. Those are not, they're very small things in the grand scheme of things, but when you make statements that are even that seemingly insignificant, it's still ingraining a belief in your brain about who you are, the type of person that you are and can be. And those beliefs, whether consciously or subconsciously, impact a lot of your decisions in life, both big and small. Instead of saying that I can't do something, I've started to try to, at least internally, change my language to either I can't do this, but I want to learn, or I can't do this right now and it's not a priority for me to learn how to do it. And when you say things like that, when you truly learn to believe that you have the ability within yourself, but something isn't a priority for you, it kind of forces you to look the true reason dead in the eyes, rather than blaming some sort of external circumstances or blaming the fact that we can't do something on this identity that we've created for ourselves. It really brings a lot of accountability back to you, where you're saying, I could do this, but it's not important for me, or I could do this and I want to learn how, because I can obviously learn a lot of things in life are skills that can be acquired. When you make yourself believe that you couldn't do this thing even if you tried, when you dismiss it, when you make up excuses, it almost feels like a relief in that moment sometimes, like a false sense of relief, where you're like, oh, you dismiss it before you've even tried it. You're like, I couldn't do this even if I tried. But when you bring that accountability back, it forces you to decide, is this important for me? Is this something that I want to learn? Or is this something that I'm just simply dismissing because I don't want to deal with it right now? I recently started following Nara Smith on Instagram, and if you are online, you probably have seen her, even if you don't recognize her name maybe. But she is very popular right now for, I mean, first of all, she's a model. So she's very successful in that sense, but she is also a wife and a mother, and she makes a lot of the meals that they eat at home, a lot of ingredients that they have, from scratch. It's become sort of like her thing, where she'll say, oh, we didn't have bagels at home, so I decided to make them from scratch. It's very cool. She is very talented and her videos are really cool to watch. But I've noticed that when people watch aspirational creators like Nara, it awakens this sort of mix of jealousy and resentment within them. And I've definitely experienced that as well, where I come across someone that is doing something really cool, maybe something that I want to be doing, but I'm not at their level yet. And as much as I hate to admit it, it awakens something in me, something ugly that I don't really want to come to terms with, where I'm looking at what they're doing and I'm almost making myself believe that I could never be on that level and I could never do what they're doing or experience the success that they're experiencing. Relatable content is definitely very comforting, very helpful, and has its place for sure. I consume a lot of relatable and aspirational content, but I think a lot of us struggle with aspirational content, and we almost put down aspirational content creators that are doing too much, because it makes us feel like we're inadequate or we're not doing enough. Why not see the success of others as potential, as more of a, if they can do it, I can do it kind of a mindset, rather than as a threat? And I'm saying this to myself just as much as I'm saying it to you, because again, whether it's actually, we're saying the words out loud where we're kind of judging aspirational content creators, or we just kind of have it in our head while we're scrolling through our feed, I think that is a reaction that, for me personally, I need to really sit with and work through and figure out why it is that I feel that way. Because in reality, all of these people that you are watching the end result, the end product of whatever it is that they're showing you that they can do. But you have no idea how much work, how much time, how much energy has been put into getting to where they're at right now. So why not embrace that? Why not embark on that journey yourself and think, okay, if other people are capable of these types of things, then I am too. Whatever you want to do, whatever you want to learn, there are so many free resources available that I can almost guarantee that whatever it is that you're trying to figure out, whatever it is that you want to experience success in, you can find a ton of people online that have already gone down that path and can give you so much valuable life experience for free. We are living in a time where information is so accessible, and it's so easy to take that for granted because it wasn't always that way. But truly, when I think about how many resources are available, even just on YouTube, it is so empowering to know that I can learn from a lot of successful people's lives. To constantly be in a state of learning, of growing, of evolving is such a gift. To be able to expand your knowledge and work towards your goals is a gift. I've come across a lot of videos where actors talk about how they feel when they go into a really important audition, and when they're feeling a lot of anxiety, a lot of nerves, they talk about how they just pretend to be a confident person, and just the act of faking it helps them to really embody that role. And it might sound silly, but I've found that to be very helpful as well. When I'm in a situation where I'm feeling very nervous about something, imagining the type of woman that I want to embody, somebody that's really confident, that's really personable, that is really just successful, when I try to embody that type of person, that archetype that I have in my head, and I truly believe that I am her, it just clicks something in my head, and it helps. And I encourage you to think about what type of person you want to embody, and in moments where you feel anxious, where you maybe even feel imposter syndrome, like you are in a situation where you feel like you're undeserving to be there, or you're undeserving of the opportunities that you're getting, think about just embodying that successful, confident person, and it will seep in. It's almost like you are borrowing or cosplaying a certain identity until it truly becomes and feels like it's yours. The bottom line is, I really want to acknowledge for myself, and maybe for you watching this, that our beliefs about who we are and who we can often be what is holding us back from the true success that we're looking for, whether it's in our professional or our personal lives. And I am in this moment encouraging myself and encouraging you to set aside those limiting beliefs, to set aside those archetypes of who we believe that we are and always will be, and adopt a growth mindset rather than a fixed mindset, to really believe that we can grow and evolve and change and improve over time and learn all of the skills that we want to learn. And I don't think you're ever going to arrive at a point where you have reached the ultimate level of self-development and you are just the ultimate version of yourself. I think throughout the course of your entire life, you're going to be growing and changing and learning new things, but truly believing that you can grow and change and believing that you can achieve what you want to is honestly the first step to getting to where you want to go. Let me know in the comments if you have also experienced some of the things that I've talked about in this video. It would be really comforting to know that I'm not alone in these sort of mindset limitations, in these struggles, and I would love to brainstorm with you in the comments as well on what works for you when you are feeling like you're stuck or you're stagnant or you're not able to reach the milestone or the goal that you're working towards. If you enjoyed this video, I'm confident that you will enjoy last week's video as well, where I talked about how to finally escape analysis paralysis. So if you haven't seen that video yet, I will see you there next.